Hello, and welcome to the Porcelain Don channel. This is going to be my spoiler discussion for Nicholas Eames' Bloody Rose. Hello, and as I said, this is a spoiler discussion, so if you haven't read the book, please tune out now, because I'm going to be talking about things that I think would be nice not to know when you read it first. So, also, I'm going to cheat a little bit and stick in some spoilers for the first book in the series, Kings of the Wild, because I didn't believe there was enough spoiler material to make a video of its own. So I just want to quickly touch upon certain things that passed in the first book that I think count as spoilers that I didn't really want to talk about, but I do think need to be mentioned. Firstly, Arcadius Moog's phallic phylactery, that scene where they're in his tower and they have this potion of tumescent um, uh, grandeur, if you will. That part was really, really funny and just sort of a nice little comic break. The part with Clay and the Minotaur at the end, that was silly, but also very enjoyable, where they would just keep fighting and he would keep coming. It seems to be a theme with Clay. Metric, when there's the meeting of all the kings and there's the horse lord, sort of like a Genghis Khan type step lord figure who looks like Metric's children when and sort of intimates that Metric's children are his children. And that part I thought was just sort of very funny. Yeah. Uh, Again, not many spoilers because it's the kind of book you can read without spoilers, or with spoilers, or you can read it knowing everything, I think. Anyway, great book. Check it out. Anyway, on to book two, Bloody Rose. Now, I'm going to be, in my original review, my spoiler free review, I did compare it a lot with the first book, Kings of the Wild, obviously, because it's a sequel, so that's completely natural. And I did say in certain ways it performed better and in certain ways it performed worse, but overall, I think it was a better crafted book. And I want to really kind of go into why I think that here. So, first of all, it's the characters. The characters, especially Rose, um, she is a lot deeper. I feel a lot better constructed than the characters in the first book. And this isn't a knock on the first book. As you know, I love the first book. This is just sort of an objective visual. But both books are great. Read both books. Anyway, so I feel like she's a little bit more profound in terms of her depth. She's not just sort of a one-trick pony. She's not sort of one motivation. She's conflicted between the love of her dad and the hate of her dad, really, and then the love of her husband, and then her desire, her need to fight, if you will, sort of as an outlet for how she feels. It seems like. Also, she needs to take, because she's somewhat traumatized or broken, she takes this drug. She needs to keep taking this drug to performing, and evidently that's a problem, as any kind of addiction can be a problem. And I feel like that is handled. Ames writes about that in a way that is interesting, not obsessing on it, but it is present and it does add layers to the character. So I think that was really well done. Secondly, I think the story overall is better. The first one was sort of a joyful romp. Let's get the band back together and go kick some butt. And that's exactly what happened. And it was great. I loved it. This one, um, there's sort of there's nuances, there's back and forths, there's a bit more depth and richness to the story in terms of it follows on for the first one, and there's they find this lady, and I don't really want to go into it that much because it's not that interesting to talk about in the second hand, but the story just has a bit more weight to it. The stakes seem to be a bit more high. You're not really sure what's going to happen, although you have an idea. Whereas the first one, it was just you could see the track coming. You looked forward to it. It happened, and it was great. Whereas this one is a bit more uh, surprising. You're not sure where exactly it's going to go. Um, Also, the action parts in this one, there was some certainly set pieces that were very tightly constructed. Like there's a part with very early on where there's a ice monster. I want to say dragon, but I'm not. Sorry, memory foible. I think yeah, some sort of dragon-esque or wyvern-esque snow monster that Rose's band fights and kills in a sort of spectacular fight scene, and then it's uh, brought back to life. Not brought back to life, brought back to undeath by the woman that hired them, who turns out to be the Duke of England from the first one's mother, the goddess of winter, who was in the poems that they talk about. Anyway, kind of a big deal. And she brings it back. She's the one that hired them to kill it, so she could bring it back for her army. And this whole scene is quite spectacular. It's much more spectacular than any really uh, scenes that were any fight scenes that were in the first one, and it was played a lot straighter. There wasn't any sort of comic relief that much to lighten it. It was really played for the visuals, I think, and it was really well done. And also, there's the big battle scene at the end, you know, with the giant, the ice giant, and the armies and stuff like that. I thought that was quite spectacularly done, very well written, better than anything in the first one. Um, Also, the emotional moments in this were better, not better, but they were quite well done. You know, I was very sad when they killed off Golden Gabe, even though out of all the characters from the first one, the original band from the first one, Golden Gabe was probably my one of my least favorites. I still really liked him. It's just I like the others more. But this one, uh, Nicholas Eames, the writer, made a brave decision to A, kill off one of the beloved characters from the first one, and two, not really use the characters that much, to use the new characters. And I think it was smart so they wouldn't overshadow the uh, the newer characters, but it was also brave in the sense that you have these characters that are beloved from the first book, and you try to step away from that as not using it as a crutch. You know, Clay Cooper is in this book a little. Golden Gabe is killed. Ganelon is off screen. I don't think Moog is in it, and Metric is in it just a tiny amount. So it was a very brave decision, and I think it paid off. It helps this book stand stronger on its own. So very well done, very smart decision. Where it falls down, not falls down, that's a bit harsh because, like I said, I really like this book. But what it lacks is the charm of the first one, I think, in certain areas. Like, none of the characters in this are as charming or beloved for me as the first set of characters from the first book. There's no Moog, there's no Kit. Clay, I love him, he's in it a little bit. But Cloud and Rose and her band, they're not as engaging. I think that's because they played a bit more seriously, and so they weighted slightly differently to the first group. So great characters, more depth, but less charming. Yeah, there's not much more to talk about in terms of spoilers, but both I enjoyed. Both books. The first book I enjoyed the most. The second book I greatly enjoyed, and I appreciated slightly more as the achievement that it is. So both are great. You should check out both, preferably in order. If you've read them, let me know down below what you think. Let me know a comparison between the two. Please like and subscribe, and also feel free to let me know any other books that you'd like me to read and review. Okay, thank you for stopping by. Bye bye.